Today I'm going to talk to you about my top 10 tips for travelling when pregnant. I've travelled quite a bit during my 2 pregnancies, so I've learned lots of things along the way, so I'd like to share them with you. My first tip is to check the destinations that you can actually travel to. There's loads of places that are off limits for pregnant women, unfortunately, whether that be because there's Zika virus, whether that be because there's malaria, or I personally would recommend that you avoid places that are too hot as well. I've actually developed a really handy map where I've plotted the places that are off limits to pregnant women, so you can check that out on the blog, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you. My second tip is to make sure you've got all your medical details in hand. That sounds really boring and sensible, but it's really important. Firstly, you need your fit to fly letter. This is required, each airline is slightly different. It's generally required from about 28 weeks. However, I would get a fit to fly letter as soon as you're visibly pregnant, just in case they do challenge you. And I have been challenged on a number of occasions and been asked for my fit to fly letter. Also, make sure the midwife fills it out correctly, because my midwife, very inconveniently, during my last pregnancy, actually wrote the due date instead of the current date, so my fit to fly letter wasn't valid. Cue me wearing my husband's clothes to hide my pregnancy so that I wasn't asked for the letter again on my return flight home. It's also a good idea to pack your medical notes, so you've probably got some kind of folder with all your medical details to do with your pregnancy, just in case something does happen while you're away. Then you've got that to take to the hospital and show to the doctors, etc. And also on that point, any medication you're taking, make sure you pack that. I'm currently in South Africa. We've been travelling for the past 10 days, and I don't know what I would have done without my Gaviscon. My third point for you is to pack lots of comfortable clothes and shoes, especially when you're travelling in hot destinations or you're doing long journeys. You want to be really comfortable. Something that I found is that my feet have actually been hurting quite a lot. I'm carrying quite a bit of extra weight, which includes my toddler a lot of the time. So I found that my feet have been aching by the end of the day. So some good support is a good idea, particularly if you are doing quite a bit of walking during your trip. My next point is mosquito repellent. I cannot tell you how many mosquito bites I have had during this trip to South Africa. It seems that mosquitoes love us pregnant ladies. It's to do with the blood coming closer to the cervix, and you increase your blood amount by up to 50% during pregnancy. So that's, that's just a meal ticket for mosquitoes. Normally I don't really get bitten. My husband does, but he's had a break during this trip and they've all been coming to me. You can't take any old mosquito repellent. You probably want one that doesn't have DEET in it, one that's family friendly. So have a look on the ingredients when you do buy one. I've written a blog post with a few recommendations, so do feel free to check that out and have a look as well. Another thing you want to make sure that you pack is lots of sun cream if you're going somewhere hot. I know that's generally a given, but it seems that the sun likes us pregnant ladies as well. So we are more susceptible often to getting sunburn. And also the effects of getting sunburn can be worse. A few days ago I unfortunately didn't cream my feet very well, and I managed to get sunburn on my feet, and my feet swelled up and they were really, really big. That's not a reaction that my body would usually have to sunburn, so I can only assume it's pregnancy related. So make sure you do pack lots and you reapply and you have a high factor. You don't want to stress your body either by getting sunburn, so don't, obviously I'm not giving a very good example because I did get sunburn, but try and avoid that. When you're pregnant, you feel the heat a lot more. Again, it's to do with your blood coming to the surface and being closer to the skin. So my personal advice would be to avoid places that are too hot. For example, travelling to the Middle East in the middle of summer is not something that I would do. I once went on a trip to the Sahara Desert where it was over 50 degrees at night. I can't even begin to imagine how terrible that would be for me right now whilst being pregnant. So whilst you want to take that into consideration when choosing your destination, you also want to take that into consideration when booking your accommodation. Probably you'll want air conditioning, or at the very least a good fan. I've had a few really, really hot, uncomfortable nights. So for my next trip, should I be pregnant again, because I don't think we'll fit another one in before baby comes this time, in the future I would definitely look a bit more closely at accommodation and the aircon fan options there. When you're pregnant, it's really important that you keep hydrated. They say that you should have at least 8 glasses of water a day in normal temperatures. So when it's hot, you obviously need to up your water intake. If you get dehydrated, it can be really dangerous for the baby. It can cause contractions and send you into premature labour. So we obviously don't want that, especially when we're travelling in a foreign country. So make sure you drink lots. I've been drinking lots and lots of water. Unfortunately, that often does mean lots of toilet stops, but that's kind of part of the past of pregnancy anyway, I think. It's really important when you are travelling just to take it easy. It's tempting to try and pack too many things or lots and lots of things into your itinerary. When you're pregnant, you do get tired a little bit more, so just take it easy. Don't jam too many things in. Think about some of the activities that you might be doing. For example, we were at the Cranksworks event in Canada earlier on in my pregnancy, and despite the fact that I love off-road mountain biking with my husband, and we often go together, he had to do that one on his own because it wasn't really safe for me. So just think twice about some of the activities that you're going to do. We don't want you to miss out on the fun, but sometimes, you know, baby has to come first. My 9th tip for you is to make sure that you pack your pregnancy accessories that you might need, particularly when you're flying. So I do actually have a second YouTube video that you can watch that's all about my tips for flying when pregnant. A couple of the things I do mention in that is flight socks. You are prone to DVT when you're pregnant, because the circulation of the blood isn't working quite so well. You might have experienced some pins and needles, or you might have that yet to come. I get it a lot. Things like that. So flight socks are a good idea. I've never purchased any before. I've always thought they were a bit over the top personally, but my midwife recommended them, and I did think they were really useful on the flight out here, which was a really long flight. So it was about 13 hours all in all, so it was a good idea to pack them. I also, for the flight, had an inflatable pillow, which I shared with my toddler, so I had dual purpose there, but that allowed me to put my legs up. There are lots of different accessories you can get that do allow you to put your legs up, and that can be a good idea, again, to help the circulation while you're flying. There are lots of other things that you might have found you like to use perhaps at home that you want to pack to bring with you as well when you are travelling. A lot of people use belly bands and things like that, so just make sure you pack any of those things to bring with you. My last tip is to take loads and loads of photos. You might feel really fat, which I do right now, but you know, it's not going to last, and your baby bump isn't going to be there forever. In fact, it's not going to be there for very long in the grand scheme of things. So take loads of photos. Your kids will love to look back at those in the future and to see that their mummy went travelling with them in her tummy, and you know, just enjoy it and really make memories and capture them on film. I've got lots of videos. We've got a video of our trip across South Africa, and you can watch that one as well, and there's lots of me playing with the toddler, etc., and embracing travel with the baby bump. So those are my top 10 tips. If you have any other tips, I'd love for you to leave a comment and for you to highlight them for me. I'm sure I haven't covered everything, and I'd just love to wish you happy travels.